another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P-Bush. How are you fellas doing?
Doing well, man. I know it's a little late to be talking about it, but just an absolutely beautiful performance by the Bears last Thursday, man. We were just talking about DJ Moore. Unfortunately, ruined Zoo's fantasy weekend, but you know what? I'll take my team. I know he's not a Bears fan, but I'll always take the team over the fantasy team, man. Got to root for your hometown squad. Just beautiful to watch. I hope Justin Fields is kind of turning a corner because honestly, I'd rather use the draft capital to improve the rest of the team than just start over fresh with another quarterback, just like the Bears have been doing for years. So positive weekend there. Tough weekend in fantasy, man. More injuries, more RBs going down. It's a bloodbath this year, Zoo. It's a bloodbath.
Yeah, man. Not going to lie, man. Tuesday morning, check the Twitter phone. A-Chain. Got a little knee. I'm like, what, man? Stop it. I see Mike McDaniel making jokes about it. I'm like, it can't be a big deal. Man, brothers on IR, man. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Brothers on IR. And I see Justin Jefferson, man. The curse of the number one pick is a real thing. The consensus number one overall pick in the past couple of years have gotten significant injuries. It's a hamstring. He's going to get put on IR. Don't know what's going to happen the rest of the Viking season. And my trade Kirk Cousins, who knows? So his future's in doubt, especially with this year, man, because he doesn't have a contract extension yet. And I feel like this is a guy that wants his guaranteed money because this guy is breaking every single record in the history of football right now. So he wants a bag that sets the market as I and the guy as the wide receiver in the NFL and truly deserve it. So I don't know how fast he's going to want to come back for this team because I saw that dude's face on the bench, Brian. He ain't happy.
Not happy.
Yeah, he ain't happy with all this losing. He's
come to Chicago.
Numbers, man. Like,
come a little further south.
The guy's an elite talent. So I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. All these devastating injuries. I was like, James Conner's on IR too. So the bloodbath in fantasy football is brutal, man. It's brutal in injuries, and it's brutal when you got guys like DJ Moore dropping nukes on me, man. Just ending my season in weeks on a Thursday, man. I was real happy. I was like, man, I can't wait for Sunday football, baby. Like it was time to get a W after some hard
underestimated.
Lost by 2, lost by 3. Okay, time to regress back to the mean. But then you drop a nuke on me, and I'm just watching that game. And I'm watching that third tutty, man. I'm just, I can't believe DJ Moore got a hat trick on my ass, man. DJ Moore got a hat trick on my ass. If that brother had a normal 11, 12 point, typical DJ Moore average game, I'm like, okay. But no, a 45 piece.
It's that kind of year, man. There's
another
a lot
league I gotta play Fields too. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, my Jesus, have mercy on my soul. Anthony Richardson on IR. I'm just like, that's a
tough
man,
one.
I'm just like,
I got him in one of my leagues.
Holy moly, the injuries are brutal this year. RB depth. Now wide receivers getting injured too, which is supposed to be a less susceptible to injuries, but NFL, man, everybody's injury prone. Everybody's injury prone.
A lot of hammies this year.
I will say that what's going to be hilarious about that DJ Moore and Justin Fields performance is that if that is like the only nuclear game that they have together, that's going to even piss you off even more because it's going to be like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me the one night that I was like thinking against the Commanders who have a respectable defense, they have a nuclear night? Like that's insane. Like those are the type of games that really piss you off. Like where they have like for me, it was Kyle Pitts going against the guy, even though I beat him this week. Like Kyle Pitts had been averaging 5-6 points. All of a sudden he gets 15 and is literally the reason why I had to wait for Christian Watson to catch that 70-yard bomb to win by like 4 points. Because it's like Kyle Pitts has done nothing the entire game or the entire year. And now he wants to go for 15 points. Like, get out of here. It's just, it's super frustrating. But that's why you play fantasy, because it's just the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of that.
The roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
Freaking life, man. Up and down, man. Up and down. Jesus Christ.
So it's like fantasy football is really just about life, man.
No, it is, man. You just got to keep pushing forward, man. You just got to keep moving forward, even though you get punched in the gut sometimes, man. It hurts a lot, but you got to stay there and watch that red zone and hope for a miracle.
You do,
man.
But I will say a guy that's probably going to be a popular fantasy pick next year, assuming he, quote unquote, goes to the league, will be Caleb Williams. He's been a talk of college football. I would say his defense and his team as a whole, maybe not as talented as last year, but kind of speaks to just his football genius and how he's able to play and maneuver in the pocket. And almost kind of feels like he's playing sandlot football when he's out there playing and coming back. Like the game against Arizona, he was just out there flicking the ball around and just, having fun and ended up winning in 2 overtimes. So, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, I think he's going to come out next year for the draft. And, right now you have the Arizona Cardinals who have Kyler Murray on IR, kind of on ice. And then you have the New York Giants who 99% of the fans would say that Daniel Jones is not the future. So I wanted to ask the guys, if you're a Caleb Williams or just a fan in general, where would you like to see him play? The Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants. The reason why I asked this question is because they're both 1-4. I think I might have said that in Peebles. What is your answer to that?
No, I think that's a good pose because obviously we know Panthers worst team in the league, but they got Bryce Young, right? They're kind of stuck on riding him out at least for a couple of years. This could end up. I'm sorry, I got to put it in one more time. This could end up being one of the biggest trade heists in a long time by a team gunning for just a single draft pick, right? So they're kind of riding that out, and then that leaves you with two teams that are dealing with injuries. Both of their respective running backs. Obviously, Zoo mentioned James Conner. Saquon Barkley has dealt with a little bit of an injury bug this year. Both teams, looking at them, I think the Giants. Daniel Jones gets a lot of flack. Dude, the man has been sacked significantly more than Andrew Luck was through the first couple years, however many. I think they metriced like 50-something games or whatever. And you're looking at him like, this is why Andrew Luck retired early, was because he was just taking so many hits so much. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is an elite franchise quarterback, but it's not really all on him. But that actually points me more towards wanting Caleb to go to Arizona, because I think if you really want to have a stud generational type talent quarterback thrive, you need to give him at least a viable offensive line. You don't want him getting beat up, because that destroys confidence when you're trying to build it up in a league that's extremely faster than college football. More explosive on the defensive side too. Defenses, the schemes you're going to be seeing. And I just think the Cardinals overall have more talent around them. James Conner is contracted another year, I believe, after this year. Zach Ertz, he's kind of just that veteran guy that you can rely on down the middle of the field. They actually have some pretty good young receivers. That I think is Michael Wilson has been getting a lot of traction lately. Maybe not in the fantasy, but at least maybe once Marquise Brown leaves, I think he's gone after this year, unless they decide to re-sign him. And then you got Rondell Moore. So they have some solid weapons that I think they could work with. I think I think a big market like New York would be great because sponsorship deals and all that. And I know he's worried about losing his NIL money, but I don't think he's going to have any issues getting sponsors in the NFL stage, right? And a larger target audience. But yeah, man, I think, of course, you get the draw to New York. It's the big city. But looking at just the actual team itself, I just think the Cardinals are more talented. Their offensive line isn't the best, but hey, it opens up holes for James Conner. DeMercado ended up having some nice carries with them as well. That just gives you a bit more of confidence in the overall team. So I'd rather see him go to Arizona and down playing in Glendale.
As a New Yorker, I would not want to see Caleb Williams with the New York Giants because
there you go.
It's just death, man. Watching Danny Dimes, man, I'm not the biggest Danny Dimes fan, but that offensive line, some of the worst offensive line play I've seen in my entire life, man.
Yeah.
Like, the dude looks like he's, like, fighting for his life out there, man. He's fighting for his life out there. And, like, the guys that come in, like, you love the Seattle Seahawks. This is not an elite defense. It's an okay defense to get 11 sacks on you, man. 11 sacks. Looking like the Legion of Boom, man. Just an absolutely prime defense, man. Just obliterating him. Like, the guy has no time to throw the football. The guy has no deep threat. Like, what is his wide receiver one? Like, who is it? Wan'Dale Robinson?
Isaiah Hodgins.
Darius Slayton.
It could be what's the dude they drafted? Hyatt. If Jones can get him the ball. He's a speedster.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I'm looking at him. He has no deep threat. Darren Waller he's been a bust in fantasy and in real life. But they gave him a lot of money to be the number one option for him. Not really utilizing him that much. Not getting much production out of his tight end position. But like the offensive line play, atrocious. The running back game, Saquon Barkley, I love the talent, but the guy's a bandit. The guy's a bandit. Last year, he finally stayed healthy for one whole year, got his 1 year deal, and pretty much the Giants know he's a bandit. That's why they only want to give him a 1 year deal. His $10, $11 million, he got his 1 year deal, and pretty much he hasn't done anything because he's been sitting out the last couple of games with his ankle injury. And, like, if you got no running attack, you got Matt Breida. Matt Breida. You know what? Matt Breida, Isaiah Hodgins, man. Like, I'm like, Danny Dimes is playing like trash. But I understand why he's playing like trash. He's throwing these bum receivers out there, these bum running back, these bum offensive line, and Dave on the sideline just looking confused. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, they just have no offensive weapons for this guy. And I love Caleb Williams' talent, but in the NFL, against NFL defenses and the difference of the physicality and number of hits this kid's going to take, Jesus Christ, man, he might be in the hospital, man.
Yeah.
You see guys like rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson struggling to stay healthy. If Caleb Williams was in the New York Giants team, he would struggle to stay healthy because of that offensive line, man. But this ain't college football.
Yeah.
And with the Cardinals, you see Joshua Dobbs having a nice little cute little season, man. Marquise Brown, you're talking about this guy has a year of contract left. I would probably try to extend him. He's had a very productive season. He's only 26 years old. He was a former first-round draft pick. In the past, he struggled with catching the football. He struggled with drops with Lamar Jackson back in the past. He's improved that, and he's got a lot of couple of touchdowns. And he's a speedster guy. He's a deep threat guy. He's the guy that has elite speed. And you see speed right now. The NFL is king right now. If you got speed, man, you're big playability. That's how you win football games right now. So you get this guy Caleb Williams with another complimentary draft pick. That might be another receiver or old lineman to help him out. Man, that is the place for him to be.
And that's what I just wanted to say, because I think the big question mark there that makes this more of a discussion is what do they do with Kyler Murray if they draft Caleb Williams, right? I mean, he's extended through 2029. I was looking this up. 2029 he's extended through. All right. I mean, that's a long time. You're talking about like another 5, 6 seasons. I mean, and he's coming off a horrific injury, so teams might not be as willing to throw the house.
There's going to be at least one desperate team. That's all I got to say.
I know
it
one desperate team, too. I know who it is, too.
The Giants.
Is really, really bad. The QB position, you have like the elite, 8 quarterbacks, and you got the couple of average ones. 18 to 32, like, a little shaky there. It was a little okay, we got upgrade this position.
The Patriots.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I don't think Kyler, he needs to be in the most ideal situation. Playing wise, like he needs to be in either a dome or a warm weather climate. I don't think him being in New York or in New England, that's the team I'm thinking of. Like I think if the rumors are true and they're not really trying to resign Kirk again, like Kyler could be a guy they could trade for, because then it's like you look at Arizona, they're definitely on that 1-4. Like I don't want to say that Joshua Dobbs is trash and he won't be able to win them games. I think they're very competitive, but I still think it's the NFL and every team somewhat can be competitive and, make it a 3-quarter game. But I don't think Arizona is going to be coming out here and being, 6-10. Like I think they're going to be a pretty bad team. So it's kind of almost about like your philosophy of what you want in your quarterback. I don't know what's the guy, Gannon. He's a defensive guy. I don't know how he wants to run his team. I mean, I'm pretty sure has a hand in what he wanted the offense to look like because of how the defense plays. But I think I'm gonna zag with Caleb Williams because if you probably ask him, he'd probably say the Cardinals because this right across the road and warm weather. I mean, that actually is a nice gig. Being the Arizona Cardinals quarterback, like if you're actually good like that, being in that state, I think is pretty nice. Oh, yeah. So I won't be mad.
Right there, Sean.
Yeah, right down the road, from
there.
Phoenix or whatever. But the only reason why I would be more kin to be if I was in Caleb Williams' camp, who I would be like, okay, I would trust you more here, is only because of the head coach, Brian Daboll, and seeing what he did with Josh Allen. I think he could have a really good effect on Caleb Williams because and I'm not saying Josh Allen and Caleb Williams when they were coming out with the same prospect, because Josh Allen was highly thought of, but he wasn't thought of like Caleb Williams. But I will say that Daboll, with Daniel Jones, I know a lot of it is personnel around him, but I also think Daboll kind of looks at Daniel Jones as like, you just ain't got it. Like, I know last year I did the best I could with what I had, and it was able to get us to the playoffs, but you kind of saw last year that was Daniel Jones' peak. Like, that first round against the Vikings, like, that was what Daniel Jones could be. And I think that is saying something, knowing that Daboll was able to, basically start with Josh Allen as, I don't know, maybe he was there as a rookie, but just able to see his regression and how Josh Allen, even though he's not there anymore, Josh Allen, you can see he took major strides and was able to become basically a top 5 quarterback. I think if Daboll got Caleb Williams, who's already, as most would, project him being as advanced as he is, and Daboll was able to get a hold of that, I think they'll be able to fix the offensive line. Like, I think a lot of that stuff, they can fix that in the draft. Now, Evan Neal, a couple of those guys on the line, you might just have to cut bait because I don't know if there's any saving them or at least make them backups. But, even with running back, they gave Saquon 1-year deal, but maybe I don't know what their draft capital is right now, but maybe you're looking at the first maybe 3 rounds is lineman and running back. Because like you say, you can find guys at running back every year who can be stars. You just have to do your research. You know,
can't be lazy with it.
I think that would be the major reason why I would side with the Giants, because I still have my philosophy that I stick with, and when you got an offensive mind that is in the corner of the quarterback, and this would probably for the most part be Dayball's pick. I'm not sure who his offensive coordinator is now, but I just like when you have an offensive mind pairing with a young quarterback who's mobile. I think it's sacrilegious that they bring up Mahomes because I know he makes a lot of those crazy sidearm throws. I know he does, but Mahomes makes it look easier. So I just don't ever want to provoke that name because I feel like it's a little disrespectful. But Caleb Williams has got a lot of that in his bag. So I think maybe honing that in and doing a little bit of different stuff, I think he would be a better fit with the Giants because I think Dayball would be able to make him reach his full potential. Because no disrespect to Gannon, you're a defensive guy. Who knows? And as much as crap as we like to get the Giants, like currently, which they deserve, Arizona's been more of a dumpster fire than the Giants. Like the Giants have at least showed an established culture. They are the team in New York, like I think they could turn it around. Arizona, I mean,
they've been
Kurt
an
Warner,
they've been an afterthought since
I see you, Kurt Warner
and
teams,
Larry
but
Fitzgerald.
yeah, but that was a long time ago. And I guess you could say the Giants was a long time ago with Eli, but I don't know. And plus, too, nobody wants to talk about it. Daniel Jones partly got picked because he was cool with the Mannings. Like the Mannings was because him and I don't know if you guys know, but like Cutcliffe and the Mannings are really close. And Cutcliffe had Daniel Jones as quarterback at Duke. So I think a lot of the discussion at that time, I'm not sure who was in that draft.
I mean, he mentored him his last year too. Eli.
Who was in that draft with Daniel Jones? I know it's random. It's not you guys know on the top of your head, but
he got
somebody that they were
by
debating.
A career 500 quarterback, man.
Talking about Eli?
2 Super Bowls, but he's a career to the game 500 quarterback.
You know what it is with Eli? It's because he beat Tom Brady.
That's of course, man.
Yeah.
Twice.
If he beat Rex Grossman twice, like nobody would be putting Eli. I mean, he is amazing, but
Rex, dude, come on, man.
I'm just thinking of a Super Bowl quarterback.
Super Bowl.
You know what's funny? The only reason why I said that, and we're getting off topic, but the only reason why I said that is because I was watching some podcast. I think it was yesterday, and they were talking about one of the guys were like, I don't know who it was, but it was somebody was playing for New England, and that was the year that Peyton Manning beat Tom Brady, I think, for the first time in the playoffs. And some guy from New England was like, we were pissed because we found out that Rex Grossman was going to be the quarterback we played in the Super Bowl. And he's like, oh, that would have been a blowout. They were like, that's why they were pissed off that Peyton Manning won, because then Peyton Manning ended up winning that Super Bowl or whatever. But regardless of the fact, I think we could all agree Caleb Williams is going to be the number one pick, and he's whatever franchise he goes to is going to change the life and the fortune for that city, that entire city. So kudos to him. But going on to our next topic, there's been a couple of teams who started off slow naturally, just how it goes in the NFL. Some teams, maybe they don't have all their players on point, or maybe the head coaching staff is not doing what they're supposed to do, doing the late hours. Who knows? But there are 2 teams, Cincinnati Bengals, Los Angeles Rams, who are 2-3. I was telling the guys before the pod, I watched, the Rams, and I was really interested to see how Cooper Kupp was going to play, and it looked like he didn't miss a beat. Puka still on his old rampage as trying to be one of the best receivers in the league. And then, with the Bengals, I'm not going to give them too much credit because, it was the Cardinals. It's a get-well game, but I will give Jamar a lot of credit because he went off and reminded people. Yeah, no, he was more than open. He was like 24/7, 365 open. Like
drive-through.
It was insane how he was just going down the field. We know he's got the underneath routes. Like he just reminded people like my contract is going to be massive when they sign me to an extension or whatever happens. So I wanted to ask the fellas, in their opinion, who out of the Cincinnati Bengals, Los Angeles Rams, 2-3, both of them, are you more scared of? And Zoo, I'm going to start with you.
It's easy for me, man. It's easy for me, man. I'm still scared of that boy Joe Burrows, man. The Cincinnati Bengals.
I knew he was going to flip this. I knew he was going to do it.
I'm telling you guys right now, the beginning of the year, I told you guys, they're going to go off to a slow start. I told you guys I faded Joe Burrow because he has a significant injury. I faded him. Significant injury, and they're going to go off to a slow start. What?
Up through last week, you were fading him.
Oh yeah. No.
All right. He admitted it. All right, he admitted it. Cool.
I
That's
paid
good.
him.
We're good.
I paid. It's the Arizona Cardinals. Man.
Exactly.
They beat an awful team. Like Cardinals, cute start. They're not a good football team, and they lost their running back. They're not a good football team. So they obviously got that done. They got blown up by the Titans the week before, and they looked god awful. God awful. But it's all about health with this team. Because if you look at the roster turnover year over year, there's not much change at all, man. There's not much change at all. Like you go from the offensive defensive side of things, there's no coaching change, there's no QB change. All the weapons are here. T. Higgins still here. He might not be here in the future because his contract extension. He's going to want a bag, thinking he's a number one guy, but he's not. Jamar Chase is the number one dude, and we saw how great we saw how great this boy is, man. Because when this guy says he's always open, he's been always open. Joe Burrows wasn't making the downfield throws. He wasn't getting it done. He got frustrated by his LSU boy, and he called him out. And Joe Burrow, of course, delivers because that guy has an insane mentality, man. He's got that intangible that a lot of other quarterbacks, when they're in hard situations, they don't thrive. But this guy balled up, and 2-3 in that division right now. That division,
it's a mess.
That division ain't scary.
Yeah.
It ain't scary. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They do it every year, man. They do this every year. I swear to God.
I don't know how they win football games because their offense is disgusting. It's disgusting nasty to watch. Yeah. Kenny Pickett, I don't think he's taking a step. He looks pretty similar to last year. The running game with Najee, Najee fell off the cliff. He hit the RB wall like 4 years early. Najee Harris hit the cliff. Jalen Warren, pass catching back, whatever. Their offense. And George Pickens been balling. George Pickens is the only guy on the offensive end that's actually, okay, that guy has a real deep threat ability, a big play guy. But outside of that, their offense struggles to move the ball down the field. Most of their games are disgusting. That Ravens-Steelers game, that was a hard watch. That Ravens-Steelers game. I'm just
17-10.
Yeah, it's just a hard watch. I'm just some of these games I'm watching with the Steelers, Steelers is just really ugly football, but they're going to be around that 500 area again, even though, they do the same thing every year. And the Baltimore Ravens, man, Mr. Droppity-Drop, man, Mark Andrews, man. I have him in my fantasy team.
What just him?
And the amount of times that dude drops the damn football, man, is very infuriating. It's very infuriating. You're in the red zone, and the ball's in your hand. You better catch the goddamn football, man. It's supposed to be an elite tight end. Stop it. Stop. He dropped two. Legit passes for Lamar. Lamar.
And you still wouldn't have caught DJ Moore.
Yeah, I still want to call it. But watching that game, I'm just Jesus Christ. And what's to say? Zay Flowers, the rookie, dropping passes. Yeah. Nelson Aguilar, we knew about him in Philly. Dropping passes still, man. I swear to God, this Ravens team is supposed to get their best receiving core. Bunch of guys that can't catch a damn football. And then Lamar, that dude has a turnover issue this year, man. So it's just he's a little sloppy with the ball. He has a fumbling issue.
He's loose, yeah.
He's very when he throws it, he just gets hit. It goes backwards. I'm just Jesus Christ, man. The amount of
that last drive was tough.
Yeah, he had one interception, one fumble.
Sacked
and I can't blame him on some of the passing yards because you got guys dropping the football. You can't control that. But the turnovers, you can't control. If a guy gets near it, take the sack or get rid of the football early. So make better decisions on that. So I'm looking at that division. And my thoughts about Cleveland Browns. I faded Deshaun Watson.
Hurt.
Yeah, Deshaun's hurt right now. He has a shoulder injury. Big. And they expected him to come back earlier from the medical staff, but he's still considered injured and might not play game this week. And based on Vegas, initial spread was 4.5, anticipating Deshaun Watson was going to play. Is down to 7 now because they're anticipating that Deshaun's going to sit out. And you got a backup quarterback. I think he was a 5th-round draft pick this year, starting quarterback against the 49ers. They're going to get obliterated, man. They're going to obliterate this guy.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be like the Cowboys.
They made the Cowboys look god-awful, and that was a good football team. A nice sound. You put a 5th-round draft pick against that defense? And they got Brock Purdy and that team dropping.
Hey, that's a 7th-round draft pick.
No, man.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant built a little different though. That's adversity, man. Last pick of the draft pick. Oh, he got the intangible in him, man. His teammates love him, man. And he's super man. He got a little IQ and accuracy. That's what I like about him. IQ and accuracy. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at the division. The division is open. Open season, man. Somebody's got to win the division. And they're after all this atrocious, they're only a game back. They're only a game back.
Just got to beat
After
the
that
Ravens.
Yeah. I'm like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland. Like
Steelers will probably steal a game, or they'll pull a tie and
but
go 8-8.
no one in that division scares me. And I would say in the Rams division, I really like what I've seen from the Seattle Seahawks. I really like their offense. Really impressed with their offense. I'm impressed with the Rams offense this year too, with Matthew Stafford playing. I think playing at a really elite level this year. Really elite levels. He might not have like the gaudy stats, but I think his accuracy, throwing to different receivers, passing the ball to everyone, spreading the ball out. Obviously, getting Cooper Kupp back is huge, man. So I give it to him. Like I thought they would be a lot worse than I thought, and I'm like, but man, oh man, that division, man. So that's how I'm making my decision.
I respect that. I think I looked at it a little differently. Yes, I think if you're looking at the division race or playoffs,
yeah, the Niners,
I know the Bengals are by far have a better chance. But if I'm an opponent and you tell me that I have the Rams and then the Bengals back to back, I'm more scared about the Rams. Their offense is Joe Mixon has not been Joe Mixon. You didn't even mention Joe Mixon. He's been a ball.
He's a little washed out.
And Zoo, T. Higgins, I know we've talked about him a lot. We don't really know where he's at this year. He's had one really good game, then he got injured. We don't really know where he's at, right? They don't have a go-to tight end this year. Their offensive line is measly, which only offers more opportunities for Joe Burrow to re-aggravate his calf injury if he's having to continue to step around the pocket real quickly. I mean, that's how you hurt a calf. It's very easy. Just one misstep, one push off the wrong way because you're having to move around the pocket so much. So I do think the Bengals, yes, they do still have a good offense. I think that they need to get Mixon more involved. I mean, he got stopped at the 1 yard line, like 3 times in a row, I think, last week. Obviously, didn't end up mattering, whatever for the game outcome. But you're just looking at an offensive line that can't really get a push. They can't protect the quarterback that well, and an injured quarterback at that. So, yeah, I do think they still have a chance. Could be mostly because the Ravens are beating themselves. Then the Bengals are going to be beating the Ravens, right? I think it's going to be on the Ravens making miscues, whether it be in the red zone with drop passes, fumbles, interceptions, etc. Can't get their running game going as well, even though Justice Hill did have a nice touchdown last week. I'm just looking at this Rams offense. They have 4 legitimate receiving options, 2 of them being elite this year. Elite. Puka, obviously, it's still only week 5, but you pointed out pre-production.
He's elite. We just go ahead and say that.
He's elite.
His numbers are.
And he's a number 2. He could be a true number 1. We saw him being a number 1 through week 4. You got Tutu Atwell, who is not a scrub. He scored a touchdown last week. Just doesn't get that many targets, but he can be a game breaker if he gets a deep ball. Nice little slot receiver. And Higbee's just his pacifier safety blanket. He's not a scrub tight end. He's just kind of on that Zach Ertz type level.
Yeah, he got paid too.
And he got paid. Yeah, I'm not saying he's worth the dollars.
I don't know if he's worth the dollars, but they believe in him. They believe.
But you got to respect him as on the defensive side of the ball. So, is their defense that great? I think they do need to really shore up their pass defense. Losing Jalen Ramsey was huge. They've been giving up a lot of passing yards. They're still a fantastic rush defense. I mean, we saw Zach Moss have unbelievable games in the first couple weeks. His worst game was against the Rams, right? And the Rams, to be fair, Zoo, they played the Niners, the Eagles. I think they played the Colts, who, with Gardner Minshew, can put up some pretty good points because they just chuck the ball. We're going to see that for the next couple weeks with Anthony Richardson out. And they did play the Bengals.
And they lost.
And they lost without their best player. So, at that point, it's tough. It was a 19-17 game. Kyren Williams, we can't forget about him too. He's probably been one of the best finds at running back this year for any team across the NFL. I'm just more nervous about the Rams as a team than I am the Bengals. The Bengals defense does not scare me.
That's
the Rams,
kind of my determining factor.
The Rams rush defense does scare me. And if you can't get the run game going, you're not going to get the passing going. So, it's kind of 2 mediocre teams. I mean, it's a 2022.
Yeah, these guys are not going to the Super Bowl.
No,
but
they're not going to the Super Bowl.
You don't want to,
And I think if the Rams got in, they'd be like the 7th seed, right? They'd be potentially behind the Seahawks, right? Obviously the Niners. And the way the Cowboys have been faltering a little bit, we got to monitor how that team ends up going. But, it is possible with the
Cowboys.
NFC North and NFC South both kind of being middle of the pack on the lower end. It is possible that the Rams make it. Sure, the Bengals might get a division, but they're going to get their ass whooped in the first round, no matter who they play. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
You know what else? The reason why I'm going with the Rams. Every point that people have talked about with the offense, but when it comes to the division, like the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. So like you throw them away. But I do think Joe Burrow, he's not going against the offenses I mean, quote unquote, I guess he is, but he's not going and playing against offense. Every defense in that AFC North is legit. Like the Browns are an insane defense. They're actually number one in the NFL in terms of I guess total
They're great.
defense.
You
Like,
can start
all
them
those
against
numbers.
anyone.
There's like Pittsburgh Steelers. You see what they did to the Ravens. Like, and then you got the Ravens defense. Like Joe Burrow's going against those defenses. And like, as much as we want to say about like, we all know he's one of the best quarterbacks.
Defense for the Bengals don't have to play that elite against these offenses.
Yeah,
get in their own.
I'd be scared of Lamar if I had to play him. I think, and Lamar always beats Joe Burrow. I don't know why nobody never brings that up. He always fries that defense. Like he always fries that defense. Now Kenny Pickett's not going to fry that defense, but like Deshaun Watson, if he's healthy, could fry the Bengals defense. Like I think a lot of it is, if you really want to get down to it, like that division. I know Kenny Pickett, but like that division of quarterbacks. I mean, I'm not scared of Geno Smith. I think he had a one hit wonder. Brock Purdy, I'm starting to come around. Like he's more than just a game manager. He's good. I don't want to say elite yet, but I think he's really good. And then whatever the hell you got going on, salute to Josh Dobbs. But he's kind of like the Kenny Pickett factor. So like
he gave the Bengals a good first 3 quarters.
He's decent. He's decent. I'll say he's decent. Like he's basically solidified himself as like how Gardner Minshew is. Like he's that capable backup that if somebody gets injured, he'll be in the league for years. That's just kind of how it's going to go.
The league,
Jacoby's another. Where is Jacoby? Where is he at now? Is he still
I
in the
actually
league?
just saw him on the sideline somewhere. It was a really random spot, and I
forgot where he's at now.
I don't even know. He's still in the league.
I mean, yeah, I'm about to say he's still in the league. That's what I think Josh Dobbs' future is going to be. Like he's going to be that type of quarterback. Which
he's the backup for Sam Howell.
Commanders, yeah, and Sam Howell's decent, whatever. But that's where I think the defenses in the AFC North and the quarterbacks as a whole, like that's tough for Joe Burrow because to me, even though it was a monsoon, that first game of the season, seeing how they played the Browns, like I just did not like how that looked. It just did not look great. And even with Joe Burrow being, let's say 60% right now, man, if they can't get that offensive line right, you're asking for a guy who's already not the fleetest of foot to be a little bit more mobile because you're dealing with Myles Garrett coming off the edge or Roquan Smith. Like it could get nasty quick. And I think the reason why Joe Burrow's able to play the way he's able to play and be behind the offensive line is because he's just, to your point, he's just quick. He's a good decision maker. He knows how to get the ball out quick. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Have they had their bye week? I don't think they had their bye week yet. Like
Bengals, no.
They need it. I think they need a bye.
They need Joe.
They need to. And to be honest, and I know I'm not, the competitive guy who is playing quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, which is one of 32 jobs, but it's like I kind of would have sat Joe out at least the first 2 or 3 games just to see if I can get him completely healthy because I think this is going to linger. And if they can't sit him at any point, like it's going to be tough because those defenses are for real. Like I said, I know that the Rams got to go against the 49ers, but if you look at those games, even though I think the 49ers always beat them, but it's like those games are always kind of competitive. So I don't know. I think I'm more fearful of Puka.
It was a 7-point game in week
Cooper,
1.
Man.
7-point game in week 1, and that's without Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper came in like seamless. Like I know he had the hamstring, but he just came in like he's just been chilling.
You look like Cooper Kupp after that one first throw. Okay, that's
he just.
What did he have?
So
like
smooth.
10 for 120 or something like that.
Yeah, he's. Listen, I went against him in the league.
He had 10 targets, man. He had 10 targets his first game back.
Jesus Christ,
man. Nice, man.
Yeah. And Puka still had a decent game.
Yeah,
man. It makes you. It almost makes you wonder. Like I know Stafford's kind of flirted around with trying to kind of retire. Like that would be an attractive opening if that Rams job came open. Like, it would be hilarious. Watch who would end up getting that job. Like Kirk Cousins would get that job. Watch Vikings gonna let go of him. They're just gonna they're gonna place him right there with Puka and Cooper and just be like, go ahead, Kirk, do what you do. You'll be like one of the luckiest QBs ever. But that's kind of where I stand with that. So it was an interesting week 6, I will say, in terms of just fantasy matchups and stuff. I mean, outside, I know we talked about it earlier, DJ Moore and Justin Fields, but there was a lot of guys that who were healthy went off. So now transitioning to week six in terms of our bets. Hate to say it, P. Bush, but
Dude, the Hurts
would
one
you go 1
worked.
for 2? Yeah, the Hurts one, a tush push.
Yeah,
That one, yeah,
Wilson
that was the first
Surtain
one.
just played him well. I got to
He
give him
did.
credit. I think
He
he
did.
took it personally when the Bears kind of torched him the week
Yeah,
prior.
he's like, I can't have it
I
happen
mean, they had
twice.
back-to-back weeks of 70 points on them, and then the Bears finally doing well offensively. Obviously, they blew the game, but the Broncos just were down in the dumps, man. They had to come out and at least keep Garrett Wilson in check. I respect that. He does still get a lot of targets. But Pat Surtain, it's a tough matchup. Jalen Hurts, the brotherly shove man, can always count on it when they're at the goal line. Sorry to whoever Sean traded Kenneth Gainwell to. That's Jalen Hurts territory, man.
Yeah,
I got
no high value touches for that.
No high value touches.
Nah,
we got
it's
DeAndre
not.
Swift there, obviously, too. But, with injury bug and just less red zone opportunities, it's tough for him to score. But, yeah, Jalen Hurts, man, I thought that would have been a good pick. If you pick that one off, I think I ended up getting it at like plus 130. So for a quarterback rushing, I mean, as a guy, even though he does get a lot of usage in the goal line, it's still not a guarantee. So plus 130, I think, is pretty good odds for Hurts. I'm sure that will continue to lower into the more negative aspects as the season goes on. Unless they outlaw the brotherly shove, which we know they can't do mid-season.
I think I was just about to ask. I think that's coming. I think there's so much talk about it. I think that's
because there's Kelsey just dives, right? I mean, that's got to be bad for the knees of the D tackles. They're always talking about hitting low on quarterbacks. Come on, man, these guys are in the trenches. Maybe you should look out for them too. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, tough week on that front. I'm actually gonna I'm sticking with the 2. Zoo, your boy DJ Moore, man. I think he's gonna score again against the Vikings. Now the Vikings. The Commanders, I did not expect him to have such a great game. Maybe getting a score. And I do got to say, he was the only wide receiver that caught a ball in that game. It was Cole Kmet and DJ Moore. That's it. Darnell Mooney had 2 or 3 targets.
Do not remind me. The dude was open every single time he ran straight, man. Jeez.
But my point is, he's kind of – I'm not saying he's Jamar Chase. He is not Jamar Chase. But he has been relatively open. He gets himself open, and he creates – yards after catch, which is another way. His yak is ridiculous. And that's another reason why he is just a higher probability for scoring touchdowns. And we're going up against a Vikings team that is without Justin Jefferson, which I think the Bears can probably win this game. I think you're talking about stopping Hawkinson is going to be a big one. I think he could be a potential touchdown scorer this week. But I'm going with DJ Moore in that game, and then I'm going Kyren Williams in this week, and they're playing against the Cardinals. So we saw what Christian McCaffrey did to them. I know we talked about Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon had a ton of opportunities in the red zone. His offensive line just sucks. The Rams' offensive line is actually pretty good, and I just think that this could end up being a potential blowout in this division rival, and that just means more usage for Kyren. So right now, obviously, we don't have the odds. But I'm guessing both of these guys are probably going to be DJ Moore probably around the plus 115, plus 120 range to score, with Kyren Williams being a bit lower more favorable, I should say, for his touchdown scoring odds this week. So I don't know, Zoo. See if DJ Moore can keep the magic going, but Kyren Williams, man, he's been getting a lot of usage, and even with Cooper Kupp being back, you still got to be able to run the ball, especially if you're trying to hold a lead and just burn clock. So those are my 2 for this week. Fingers crossed.
Kyren Williams, man, they use him as a true goal line back.
Exactly.
The way Sean McVay uses running back, he shipped out Cam Akers, man. It's Kyren Williams, even though talent-wise, I just don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that efficient, but his usage is just
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, he has workhorse usage of Kyren Williams. I like that pick, man. DJ Moore, I got no good feelings about that dude right now after this week, man. DJ Moore, man. Watch him drop a donut next week, man.
Yeah, he probably will.
He's probably drop a 45 on me. But for me, man, shout out to my boy Brock Purdy getting it done for me, man. Dude, I saw 3.5, man. I'm like, dude, they're the best team in football, man, against the Dallas Cowboys. Primetime TV, the game was a blowout. I would say I was surprised, but I wasn't. I had them winning over a touchdown, but obviously they beat them by a lot more than the touchdown, man. So the 49ers get it done for me, man. So this week, though, I don't know if it's bad juju betting against the same team again. But I sort of want to. I'm going Chargers plus 2.5, man. They are at home against the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys,
That's
man.
a tough one.
Yeah. I know
Herbert's got a glove on.
Yeah. All I gotta say, Kellen Moore, man. Want a little revenge game right there. A little revenge game.
Little revenge?
game. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, the Chargers are a 2-2 team on paper, but I feel this is more of a 3-1 team quality. Because I'm looking at the losses they have. 27-4 to the Titans and 36-34 to the Miami Dolphins. Like, this is a team that could easily be 4-0 if they executed down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Like, this is just, I think, just talent-wise, this team is just an elite football team, and they're getting Austin Eckler back this week, a guy that they sorely lacked in their offensive game, especially with Mike Williams out and having Joshua Kelly as a guy they're actually using on offense. And that dude should never play football ever again because he's goddamn awful at rushing the football. There's got to be better running backs than Joshua Kelly. And then a nice little game. They blew out the Raiders, man. The offense, you just see the offense. Like, Justin Herbert and the offense is cooking right now. Joshua Palmer steps right in, beat that nice little wide receiver 2 guy. He's not going to blow you away, but as a second option for Keenan Allen, he's a nice complimentary option. And I feel like Eckler in the pass catching game, man, he's going to help out tremendously for Justin Herbert. Like, Austin Eckler could be their second pass catcher. And Joshua Palmer, I told you, he's a nice little pass catcher. But Austin Eckler, man, that would be the key. Austin Eckler against this Dallas defense, man, add a little dimension to their offense, man. But I'm riding with the Chargers, baby, to get the straight up money line, man. I got the winning this game straight up against the spread.
Oh, money line.
Yeah, I'll pay a little money line too. Just get a little plus money juice because I might even go Chargers alternative spread minus 2.5. So the Chargers winning by a field goal over the Dallas Cowboys, which is a team that has struggled with good teams. Oh, they're great front runners, man. They go up against a bad team.
That's the story of the Cowboys.
They looked real good against Danny Dimes. They look real good against Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Like they're like when they got a bad team, they know how to beat bad teams.
Yeah.
Like, you got a team in the Chargers. I believe this is still an elite team, an elite football team that's destined for the playoffs this year. Even though they're only 2-2 right now, man. Good luck against this team, man. Because this Chargers team's off a bye week, fully rested with Austin Eckler back, with a coach for revenge, man. Let's ride, baby. Because Mike McCarthy, I don't know, that dude's offense as the offensive play call guy, man. I've never been a Mike McCarthy guy. Ever since his days in the Green Bay Packers, that offense, no. It's Aaron Rodgers show. That's how he got a job. That's how he got a job. That championship ring, no. That ain't his.
It's like Nathaniel Hackett.
Dude, seriously, man. I'm telling you, Mike McCarthy ain't the dude either. So, and Dak Prescott's confidence down to the dumps right now.
Dallas, it feels like it's just wash, repeat. Like, it's always the coach's fault. At what point do we need to start looking past the head coach, past the offensive coordinator, past the defensive coordinator, and just say they have a cultural problem, and it starts with Jerry Jones? Like, I am sick of because I'm going to tell you, the only coach I feel like, maybe 2, 3, that could come to Dallas and Jerry would sit upstairs and probably mind his business is Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, Andy Reid. Outside of that, everybody else, Jerry Jones, and those guys, I feel like, and I know people look at Reid as kind of like a lovable whatever, but I think he has more of a control of that locker room, and I know Kelsey be doing all the stuff he wants to do, but I think he has way more control than people give him credit for. We know Bill has it, and we know Mike Tomlin's type of guy that's not going to put up with a bunch of BS. No. I feel like those are the only 3 head coaches who can go to Dallas and actually have control to where they can do everything. Because to me, we all know what the identity is with the Dallas Cowboys. It started with Zeke Elliott, and it's probably started before that. If you run the ball and commit to the run, you will be successful because Dak is best when the run game, it doesn't have to be going for 5 to 10 yards, but if he's getting 2 to 3 yards every play and then on a third down, he's doing a dink and dunk and it's a 3rd and 4 and he's making a completion and moving the chains, that's where Dak is successful. When you got Dak throwing 90 million times, like, that's when they just get out of whack. But I will say that Chargers secondary would make me nervous about that bet because Dak and CD could get some chemistry and maybe they, throw it over the yard. But I'm not mad at that bet. I'm not mad at the money line bet because I do think the Chargers. I'm pretty sure it's at LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think back home they coming off a bye. Like, yes, Justin Herbert might be ready to,
He's just got to hope.
Because I was shocked that they were underdogs. I thought they would be.
I was too.
Like -1, like.
I think it's the injuries, Zoo. It's the injuries for sure.
Yeah. So
And I think maybe they're thinking Dallas is. I mean, I don't know when they said that.
Dallas
line,
also struggle from injury too. Like Trayvon Diggs is out, substantial out. Like their secondary helps.
They don't have a number 2 receiver either. That Brandon Cooks kind of fell flat on his face. That little trade that was
dropped him after.
They need a solid number
man.
2.
Yeah, I think the number 2 is more Jake Ferguson, the tight end. Like he's been getting a lot of targets, and I don't know if he's the biggest playmaker, but CeeDee Lamb has not had a great season this year. He's been limited, but I feel like a lot has been Dak Prescott. Like those picks that he threw were just awful. Like his third pick, I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Maybe they should consider Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
I know. If Caleb on that team, man, he would win. He would win more playoff games than Dak Prescott ever would.
Hey, I'll trade you the Panthers' number 1 overall pick. Give me CeeDee Lamb.
Oh my! What? Number 1 overall pick?
Oh wait, what?
What?
That's crazy.
For CeeDee Lamb, the Bears hold the Panthers pick. They have
I would drop Caleb. I would draft Caleb Williams and bye Fields. Bye.
Yeah, I don't know if I can't give up. I know he had a great game last week.
Yeah.
Games,
man.
I
can't give up that number 1.
Man. Let's take it easy.
He is last 2 weeks, even though they lost that week before. His last 2 weeks have been pretty crazy.
127 QB rating.
I need to see a few more games of him going.
Easy. The Denver Broncos. You know what the Denver Broncos is? Swiss cheese, man. Just go through those holes, man. I swear to God, that's the worst run
Commanders almost
in the NFL.
beat the Eagles, man. I'm just kidding.
The Commanders, they were asleep at the wheel.
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying that there's no
heart.
reason to start from scratch with a team that is not ready to win. You're just starting over and putting him in a bad situation.
I agree.
I just don't think the Bears should do it. Do I think he's great? Yeah, of course. But I don't think the Bears are a good fit for him. That's all. So I'm saving Caleb Williams.
I agree.
No, fuck
Actually,
that.
I agree.
Try to save your franchise, man.
And that's not the way to do it.
I don't think bringing Caleb Williams in there next year, if there's not wholesale changes, is going to change. No. Like they'll probably ruin Caleb Williams. So I do think Justin Fields, if he shows a little bit more, at least 3-4 more games with him, even if the team win or loses, if he shows the ability and the lights kind of come on, you just got to build with that because they got, like I said, they got the capital.
Trash. The Bears defense is
you
trash.
Can still build.
So
still build with those draft picks. Maybe get some more capital. But as far as my money line bet, I didn't really see any that I liked. But there's one that if you're rich, if you have like what is it, this like disposable income.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of disposable income, if Deshaun plays, I don't know, man.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know, man. It's at home. I think. Listen, it's the same thing. Listen, hear me out. It's the same thing that we're talking about with the Jaguars. Last week, the Bills came in high and mighty. You could tell at the beginning of that game, they were sleepwalking. The Jags should have blown them out. If Trevor Lawrence wasn't turning the ball over and they were doing dumb stuff in the red zone, the Jaguars should have blown the Bills out.
Yeah.
The game was only close because the Jaguars was giving the ball to the Bills. And I'm not saying that the Bills are on the level of the 49ers. I think they're more focused. I will say that it's the Browns. I get it. They're perennial losers. Like they've never been in the playoffs. But I do think that defense that the Browns has is for real. It's for real. And I think each level, whether it's the defensive line, linebackers, corners, they can match up with the 49ers. The only difference is if Deshaun plays and they could move the ball decent, like in a decent manner. And I do like Amari, I do like Elijah. If Deshaun doesn't play, do not make this bet. But to me, when I do these money line bets, I'm trying to look at something because if it's like in the 120 plus 120 plus 130, like I'm not keen on those bets. But like on DraftKings right now, it's plus 260. So like if Deshaun plays, like you never know. What if and like you said, the weather? I think they're saying the weather might become the factor. What if it's just a muddy, weird game? Brock Purdy on the road, and they might be sleepwalking because they're definitely thinking like how Zoo was looking like. The freaking Browns, dude. We just beat the Cowboys on freaking Sunday night. Like we just beat the out of the Cowboys. Like we'll take care of these Browns. The next thing you know, it's the third quarter and Brock Purdy being sacked for the second time against Myles Garrett. It's like 10-7. Like that could happen. I think it could be a defensive struggle. But if Deshaun doesn't play, it's a wrap.
Christian McCaffrey. I mean, to be fair, he didn't have that great of a game this past week. And I'm not saying he's going to continue to.
He scored a touchdown, but it wasn't like he wasn't up and down the field.
He had half of what he was averaging.
Yeah. Dallas's defense is real, and they're number 5.
That's still like a 13, 14-point game in full-point PPR. I mean, Jesus Christ, I guess you'll take it. But, like, it's Christian McCaffrey, all right?
Yeah.
Against this defense, I don't think he's going to drop 30 unless they
No.
just give him all the 1 yard and he scores another 4 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to pop off for 150, rushing yards. But, it is the Browns. So you really can't expect whatever. You can think whatever you want on that
If you got money to spend, money to blow.
If Nick Chubb was playing, I might agree with you.
Dude, I would hammer it if Nick Chubb was playing. It's
would
the
also
classic.
probably
People
be
don't
like-
respect the Browns.
It'd probably be like 200, 210 if Chubb was
Yeah,
playing.
it wouldn't be
As
270,
enticing.
But I think to Zoo's point, they're banking on Deshaun not playing. So if he doesn't play, do not play this bet. Because PJ Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, hell no. Like that's gonna be a beatdown. That's gonna be a beatdown. I would not suggest it. There's no other bets though that the only other one that kind of looked enticing was
Bears
I
money
think they got the Colts. The Colts at plus 176 against Jacksonville, but that's Gardner. I don't know. I don't know if Anthony
Gardner
Richardson was in that game.
Yeah, he chucks it, man. I think Josh Downs might have a hell of a week this week.
I'm mad I didn't get him off waivers.
Oh, I'm playing
he's
him
gonna
against
be-
Zoo. Playing him against Zoo.
He might be a.
He's gonna have a Gabe Davis against the Jags performance, man. That's what I'm expecting.
I don't need that shit, man. I need to I'm 2-3 right now, man. I like my team on paper, but on the field, they ain't performing like on paper, man. I'm the Cincinnati Bengals right now, 2-3.
Yeah,
Gotta get some W's now. Gotta get some freaking W's.
all the talent in the world just coming up short.
man.
Oh, man, I need to get some W's.
It's gonna be an interesting week. A lot of injuries. It could affect betting. Betting this week could be very valuable. I think there could be. You could find some value here and there. Some bets
somewhere. So make sure you guys tune into that. As always, we're on Instagram, bullheaded_pod. We're on Facebook, bullheaded underscore pod, if I could say it correctly. I've been doing stuff on Facebook sometimes with my Instagram. It links to that, but Facebook has different features, so make sure you guys check that out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts is indeed going away, but I think it's later this year, maybe towards December. So if you are subscribed there, have the YouTube channel, Quantrell knows, you can get on Google, Apple or Spotify. Just make sure you maybe send me a DM on Instagram or something like that if you're having trouble trying to find those subscriptions. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.